So everything is it already, as Peter reminded us a few minutes ago, already is, I'd like to focus on already, if we could tonight, already. All is this already. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's this, whether it's a feeling, a thought, these words. So there's no one behind these words. There's not a, see, the illusion is that there's a person talking. Let me let Alice in. So that's the dream, that there's someone here in this body talking to others that are in those bodies. And that's the illusion of separation. And so that's an illusion. And so there's nothing to be done about, funny enough, about an illusion. Like there's nothing to be done about, imagine Santa Claus was in trouble and he needed our help. Well, Santa Claus doesn't need your help because it's an imagined character. Well, it's the same for the me. The me is an imaginary character. It's not really there. No one has ever found a me. So right now you can look for a me. Right now, not 5 minutes from now. Now, is there a me here? And so the suggestion here is that there's just imagination. You can imagine a me, you can imagine me distressed, frustrated, angry. Just like you could put Santa in many different adventures. Santa goes to the market, Santa gets ripped off. And so the me has its stories, right? These are endless stories, but they're empty. That's but the me takes them seriously, so they're heavy. things matter to the me. Things seem important. Oh, let me let Joanna in. Things seem to have a purpose. There's there seem to be good things and bad things. Joanna, you're so funny. Every week she comes with these hilarious. I don't know if you guys can see this on the video. What does it say, Joanna? Joanna, can you read your cartoon? Is that from Archie?
It's Veronica. It's from Archie comic books, and it says, "Don't judge us, Archie."
So good. That's perfect.
I know.
That's every. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I picked it for us.
Yeah, no, wonderful. It's because that's the me. The me says, who are you to judge me?
But there is no me. So there's no me to judge to begin with.
Yeah, the whole thing is imagined.
I love your baby picture.
I know, right? How happy is that baby? So that's the freedom. You know, I said I wanted to talk about already. That was sort of the magic word when I met Nkosi, because already, all is this already? And so that was heard here is, well, then there was nothing left to do. The seeking just, I can't really explain it. It just seemed to not be the case anymore. It didn't compute. I mean, if I just want to say it, it just, all is this. So the ability to gain an advantage or to lose when all is this, it doesn't make sense. How could everything win or lose? How could everything be right or wrong? You could have a thought, a belief can arise, an idea that something's wrong, sure. Yeah, so this is an open meeting. Everybody's welcome to participate. I ask that you speak from your own experience, you know, from right here, you know, in this moment. And feel free to unmute and jump in.
Michael, you don't normally say to us something about from your own experience. What could you talk to us a bit about why you said that today?
Yeah, because left to its own devices, the me will often go to the past and bring up quotes of famous dead Indian speakers as a way of deflecting, as a way of not getting to the core issue, because I can stay lost in my dream that somebody else has something I don't. And what's being shared here at this meeting is you're already it.
Oh, thanks.
I like to think of the mind playing ping pong with the past and future. Ping pong, ping pong.
Yeah, so right, Leighton. So for some of us, that got old.
Mm-hmm.
Identifying as the mind suddenly there was suffering. There was unbelievable suffering when this identifies with the mind, because now I'm in duality, I'm in limitation, I'm in right and wrong judgment, as Joanne's cartoon says. I can't help it because I feel separate. So there's no blame here. There's no one to blame. There just isn't anything separate. It's just a very strong hallucination. It's this. Hallucinating, it has to do something to become this. Like a dream.
So this is hallucinating everything, not me, because there's no me.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no good Don, and there's no reason why. That's the killer. Because me wants to know why this, why, why. There is no why. There's just what is. Like right now we have 12 people here at this Zoom meeting. Why is there 12 people here? Why are there not, 13 or 50 or 2? There's just this, and this is the presentation. This is what's happening, you could say. So the suffering was wanting it to be different. If like I really wanted there to be, well, I don't know, Tim Kliss gets 45, if that's there, you're going to suffer because what, right? You're judging, but you're not doing that. The mind that's not even there is doing that. And then it's identification. You're so identified with those thoughts.
Also, we make up a story why it is. We always want to like go for the cause and effect. Everything has a reason. And so we speculate and come up and argue about what causes what.
Right. But that kind of kills the moment. Like the joy is in just this, in just the 12 of us together. There's an auspicious number when Nkosi gets here. So it's just perfect. Like it's just perfect. There's nothing lacking. However you're feeling is this. It's just what's happening. It's not right or wrong. If you're uncomfortable right now or you're hot, that's okay. So that's kind of what struck me about Nkosi. And when Alice would tell him stories, he was okay with everything. It didn't matter what story she told, he was okay with it. And I'm like, how could you do that? And the answer is you can't do that. A me could not be okay with it. And every story would not be fresh and new if there's a me there.
And I find Michael really annoying when I try to talk to him about my story. No, we got it squared away. And I run into my stories and it's so great. In fact, Nkosi will say, I understand you very, very well. And it's almost like hearing those words, the story like just dissipates.
Yeah, that's so true, Alice. Nkosi was the first person he said to me one time, or I guess I first heard him say it to you, Alice. He said, I hear you very well. And I'm like, wow, isn't that what really we all want deep down? Just somebody to hear me very well.
Usually when he does that, it just brings me to tears. It's like, wow, such a.
Why do you think that is? Why is it by him saying, I hear you very well, brings so much relief?
There's such connection. I don't want to say this, but I'd be guessing. I had a disconnect from myself. I was probably judging myself about the story. And when he said, I hear you very well, all that judgment fell away. And I really could kind of fall into his arms, if I might use that as a metaphor. And I wasn't wrong anymore. And it was not wrong to have a story or any of that. It's really beautiful.
But that process, or whatever you call it, that's the essence of what we have when we relate to other people that we love. Like with my granddaughter and I, we sort of grok each other. And that's a very, I don't know, healing or a kind thing that happens when somebody gets what you're saying and doesn't judge you for it. I mean, yeah. I mean, Kosi's the epitome of that, but we do have that, I think, with other people when we're interacting with them.
But, if I want to be gotten, like you had mentioned, we all want to just be gotten. The premise of that is I want to be gotten, and I do, but the I that wants to be gotten is not there anyway. So it's all, we don't really want to be gotten because there's nothing to get. There's no one to get it.
Yeah, but I don't think you can deny part of yourself.
Yeah, very good. It's a paradox, Dawn. I mean, it's like I'm nodding at both of what you're all saying. Yeah, it's a paradox. There is no one there to get. It's empty, guys. Empty is empty. And yet, the report is when someone says, I hear you very well, that feels good.
Mm.
But but the feeling good must be an illusion because there's no one to feel good. I mean, that's what we base this on. So there's no one to feel good over here. I could say I feel good, but there's no I, so there's no feeling good either. And that's okay. I'm not denying that. But it's just, I guess you'd say it's in the imagination, where it's just all of this functioning as that, but it's not separate from the this. So it's not about me feeling good. That's an illusion.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's no me to feel good.
Right.
Well, as long as I imagine that I have this imagination going on, that I'm in a body and I have this story, I feel like I want to connect and I can't in the illusion. It's, maybe some of you have a lot of people that you feel would be like Nkosi. I don't. I sat here and thought of which friends can I call that would really, quote unquote, I could feel connected with like I do with Nkosi. And I came up with 0. So I called him. And that seemed to help this imaginary me. And I felt good because the story fell away in feeling held by him. I felt that connection. I didn't feel any judgment. I didn't feel he was pretending. I just felt that it didn't exist. So I don't know, that's just my experience. So I sometimes I hear too much, well, I don't exist, or I this or I that. The truth is, I imagine that I'm existing almost all the time, if not all the time. I have that imagination going on. Very rarely. I have had some moments where that has disappeared, but I'm not going to pretend in my imagination I don't think there's a me. So I have to kind of start with that point, I think, in a sense. I mean, why would Michael even say at the beginning of this meeting what you said? That was really good. I want to hear what's going on with you now. And correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. I may not quite be saying it the way you did when you opened the meeting with, you want to hear from us from what's going on now, not from some theoretical point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. No, just speak from right here, because you can't fuck up. Just speak right here from where you're at. So there's no bringing in quotes that I'm saying, because that's memory and that's not going to serve, you
Right.
know, and it's just, it's much fresher and much more exciting for all of us when someone's speaking from, it's almost, guys, it's almost like watching a daredevil on a wire, on a tightrope. You just got to watch, because you just never know if they're going to fall. So I'm saying, like, it's okay. All the stories and everything, we can just be here with them, like, as they're arising in real time without analyzing or going into our own stories.
I guess I'm remembering the time when you were in the hospital and then sharing some of that information with us. You were so totally speaking from the moment about what was going on, and then this happened, doctor said this, and I remember listening clearly to you. It's vital and it's alive because that was what was happening.
Yeah. And that is how we do connect. When someone's alive, when someone's excited about something, it somehow touches you. Like, oh, what is it that you're so excited about? Tell me.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be what you're excited about. It can be what's ripping you apart, what's tearing at your heart.
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Here comes a quote, but I'm not going to mention the name. What's alive in you?
Say that again.
It's sharing what's alive in us. What's
Yeah.
alive?
Yeah.
ALIVE. Alive.
Peter, that's a real, I actually have something to say about that. One thing that's been noticed here was when the persona that was so solid for so long and so held tight and protected, when that begins to dissolve or loosen or fall away or seen out, however you want to put it, it does free you up to really enjoy the character much more.
Mm. Yeah, Peter, that little saying comes from nonviolent communication,
Yes.
Rosenberg. Yeah,
Correct. Now
it's
you
good.
said the name. I was deliberately avoiding it, so it wasn't a quote.
Beautiful.
I think it was very appropriate. I liked it anyway.
For a while, I always ask people, what's, instead of how are you or how do you do, I started to ask, what's alive in you? And sometimes it was just a puzzled look back. What are you talking about? I thought it was more interesting.
I would probably think you're kind of goofy if you asked that to me.
That's,
I understand, Peter, because I've done the course too.
well, I think it is, though, in the context of what we're talking about here, is attending to what is rather than to what we think about something, or it's being and to what it, with what is.
Actually, when Michael said that, I thought to myself, be with what is, be alive. And it was like, it's so much easier to just throw out quotes and go into the past and all that, but to really be in the present moment is can seem to be a bit more challenging, because that's not where I'm, well, I'm becoming more accustomed to being there since being in this course.
Of course, Alice, at the same token, and I'm kind of feeling a little bit on thin ice here, but you keep referring, I think, to an episode that happened in the last meeting, and I had some stuff coming up for me. And so sometimes what is alive is like stories get triggered, feelings get triggered, and past traumas get activated and so on. And then, of course, we're very quickly not here anymore.
You're right. Yes. Thank you for that.
And you may notice that Nkosi never quotes anybody.
Wouldn't that seem silly if he would?
Right? It would be like Jesus quoting somebody.
But I'm surprised that nobody has come in yet and said, isn't quoting somebody this too? Don, where are you? Why don't you ask that?
Mhm.
I was thinking of that, but I thought I've been talking too much.
I was reading your mind.
You were.
And maybe Alan, I don't know, but I've been waiting for a Britcher coming in here.
My favorite quote from was Crap Seeker. He was a crap seeker.
Oh, Tony Parsons?
Tony Parsons.
That's funny.
I love that.
Yeah, so what's imagined cannot fall away. And the me is imagined.
Well, so we could stop thinking about it, or we could stop thinking about, yeah, I realized today when I was riding the bicycle, I thought my whole world is just the thoughts that come up. It's just a stream of thoughts. And when I see something in the street, a story gets triggered. And so that's my life. It's all, I guess that's what you call imagined, but so of course, yeah, well, more thin ice there again, it's like we can try to direct those thoughts or to stop thinking certain thoughts and so on. But we could also just look at what is when we're not thinking and when we're just being.
There's, there's already no one there to do any of that.
Right.
If you were bringing the thoughts, you would know how to take them away.
I've been just interested to watch my mind, because one of my hobbies is family history, and I meet with a woman once a month, and we do a bit of research on the internet about looking up old newspaper items to find out more about my ancestors. And I'm smiling to myself this morning, like I did that yesterday. We did some research on the internet, and it's like for every question we get answered because we read something that makes sense of, yeah, the ancestors were doing that at this time and blah, blah. For every answer we get about 10 questions. It's like a big, deep hole of addiction. You know, you can't get an answer that will shut the mind up. It's just one answer to, you know, do you understand what I mean? Just quick. And that's the way the mind works. Like it's an addiction process. And my particular addiction was finding the answers. Why did they do that? Oh my goodness, that's what they did. Oh, well, why did she do that? And it just goes on and on, unending. So that's the mind at work in my world.
Yeah, all I can tell you, Faith, is at some point the pain and the suffering outweigh the interest in the why.
Yeah.
But you know, that's all this too. So all the mind negativity and craziness that's going on, that's also this. So
Yeah.
it's not about getting rid of it or understanding it or anything. It's, I'm calling it like allowing it, and that allowing it without a me or something, but it's all this. So I'm looking at my mind as Faith was talking, I was watching my mind. I got the same mind as you do. And I was going, if my mind is all this, if all this is my mind, then there's no problem. That the mind is going this way and that way and asking a million questions for every input. It's all okay. It's okay to be, quote, crazy. It's okay to, oh man, it feels like there's some freedom in there somewhere. It's like we're okay as we are. It's, even the me that we think is me and not good or whatever, that's okay.
Yeah, that's Don, that's what Casey has done for me, is free me up to allow that ridiculousness to be just part of it. Yeah. Because I've felt with other folk that I've listened to or followed that there's been a rejection of that. You know, we don't do that. But with Nkosi, anything goes, everything goes, you know, and that's wonderfully freeing. Oh, there he is.
Hi, Nkosi, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Don. Don, it's really nice to see your face. Yeah. You have it half covered with a beanie cap most of the time. You're quite a handsome man.
The me says, no, no, no.
It's fighting it.
Alice, you've got to stop that because all those other gentlemen will be feeling jealous.
Yeah, I'm going out.
Look at that shot. So I was saying earlier in Nkosi, what's imagined cannot fall away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already not there. It's already not there. It's just an imagination. So it can never really fall away, you know, because it's just not, it's never there. It doesn't exist except as an imagination. So yeah, this is the same as right now. You cannot really find Wednesday. It can never really be found except as an imagination, you know. So same goes with the me who thinks is separate from everything is imagined. So it can never fall away. Well, it may seem to fall away in a dream, but it is recognized that it was never there. So the falling away itself is illusory. So nothing ever happens, you know. So there's nobody here who's even listening to these words. So there's no one as well who's talking. That's just what seems to be happening. And it's got nothing to do with you, with any separate self. There is only everything expressing itself. Just the listening itself has got nobody behind it. The talking has nobody behind it. It's just what seems to be happening. And it's going nowhere. It may seem to go somewhere in the dream, the totality appearing as separate self, thinking that now I'm getting there. Yeah, that's not to say that's good or it's good or bad. It's just what happens. It's just what is. So already there's no purpose. There's no reason for anything. There's nobody to reach a goal already. There's really nothing to be done. This as it is already worthless. Words can never really make this become better or improve this. You know, this is just the way it is. It may express as somebody who's talking. It may express as a listening, as seeking, as not getting it or getting it. And this doesn't mind, it doesn't really mind. There's nobody here to get it or not. That's just what's happening. So what's happening has has got nothing to do with you or a separate self. It's just what happens. So everything is beautiful. Everything is okay. There is always that sense of okayness with everything, or with what seems to be everything, or what seems to be everyone. This doesn't really mind, because it's the only thing there is. There's nobody outside of this. There's nobody to be trapped. And there's no trap. There's just this. So the me is just a thought. It's just a thought construct, which is also everything appearing as that. There is no real me. There is no real separate self. There is no one already to be enlightened. I would say it is just enlightenment, appearing as somebody who's seeking enlightenment. So everything is already this. And this is nothing. This is nothing appearing as everything. And this right here doesn't know anything. So there's no separation. Separation can only be an imagination, which is totality also appearing as that. So there's no real separation here. There's nobody to be separate from anything already. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to do. Because the doer of things is already not there. The doer of things is just a thought. Where is the thought? Can it be found? By whom? Well, there's nothing here. There's nothing here to find anything. And there's nothing to be found. There's just what's happening. So when there are no words, everything is beautiful. When there are words, everything is beautiful. This doesn't mind, because everything is this. Yeah, that's what's coming up here.
Okay, Nkosi, we briefly discussed this earlier when I have had a problem or problems and I've talked to you, and like the last time, I mean, it was like I couldn't find anybody who really listened to me. And then when I saw your face and you said, I understand you very, very well, it's like I got tears. It's like it just felt like resting in your arms or something. It just felt such a relief. And but it's still the I that felt a relief. And I was looking for, the pain was really in the separation I was feeling when I came to you with the story. And then when you understood the story, or, naturally, why wouldn't we understand the story? But once you understood it, it kind of fell away from me. I had a lot of connection. But that was, can you talk a little bit about that? I don't even know what my specific question would be to you.
Well, I may say that this is ever talking to itself. So it doesn't mind the story, because the story is still also an expression of this. So everything is okay. The story itself has no one behind it. It's just an expression of everything. So there's nobody who is facing any problem. If there is an appearance of something, and there's something that seems to say, oh, I'm facing this problem, this and that. That's just a thought. The one who says, oh, I'm facing this and that is just a thought. It can never really be found, really. So you can never, that one can never really be helped, because it doesn't exist except as an imagination. So what's imagined, it's already not there. So, so if there's a problem, then whose problem is it? Then if it's seen that it's just a thought, then can thoughts be found? By whom?
So could it be though, because you see so clearly, and when I bring that to you and you don't see it as a problem or anything, is this that energy? Is that what allows me to relax or feel so held when I say the story?
Well, I may say as well, there's nobody there to relax, or there's nothing there. It's just everything expressing as that. Expressing as a you asking a question, looking for an answer. So this is that behind that there's nothing. So really, there's no answer.
Yeah.
For nobody. There's just everything expressing as that. Expressing as a you asking a question, this giving an answer. That's wholeness already.
So I was looking for a feel good in a sense. I mean, that was a feel good when I felt really connected, or when I felt understood. Could that have been just like a feel good?
Yeah, they may seem to be appearances,
Yeah.
things. Yeah, it's just what appears and disappears in this,
Okay. And that's a
pain. So sorry.
I said, and that's like a pleasant feeling. It's still a feeling versus an unpleasant feeling. They're
Yeah,
both related to the I.
yeah. There's no I. Those are good news already. There's no I to feel anything.
Yes.
Rather than looking outside, rather than looking at the problem or imaginary problem, it's better to look within, to look where you're looking from. Then you'll see that there's no I there. Even even to say look, it's it's meaningless, because there's nobody to do anything. There's just wholeness here. It's just everything. So at times I may say like that. I may say look, but this knows that already it is just a story, and it's beautiful. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. So the separate self is already not there. The separate self, the one who's looking for solutions, it's just everything expresses or expressing is that. So these things come and go. Seeking comes and goes. Love comes and goes. Pain comes and goes, doesn't last. But this as it is, it's just, it's not a human being, it's not a man or a woman. It's not a thing that can be pointed to. You know, it's just everything, which includes the one asking a question. So there is no escape. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to be done. It's just what is.
Thank you. That was really, really helpful and beautiful.
You're welcome. Always welcome.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
Yeah, well, a question, I guess, if I say, as I was listening to you, I'll say, well, if I'm having trouble in my mind or something, I'll say, well, this is it. This is it expressing itself. But if I say that, then that can't be it, right?
You can't say it because there's no you to do anything already. It's just everything expressing as that. Even to say, or
Right.
it's just totality, you know, this and that. It's already everything. So there's nobody outside of this to say anything about this. You know, it's just what is. It's just this.
So you can't, like I'm saying, you can't use this as a technique, like I try to do. You can't use this as anything.
Who is there to use it?
Well, the me trying to get out of my dilemma, you know.
Well, who's the me? Is it not this already?
Well,
There's no separation. There's just everything.
okay. I'll keep
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah, but you could say, Don, that using a technique is this too. So there's nothing wrong with using a technique.
You can't use it and you can't not use it.
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
The technique,
It's already this.
and the technique means you don't like what is, you want to, there's nobody here, but the intention is that what it is isn't enough and something else should be.
Yeah, but if you want to say that this isn't enough and something else should be, and you want a technique for that, that's this too.
That's what Don was referencing a half an hour ago.
See,
Oh my God.
it all came full circle.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Listen, if you haven't been to the Kindle store, now you got a good reason. Nkosi and I, our new book, Just This, now available on Kindle, and I'm waiting for a review. I don't care, good or bad. You could go ahead and criticize it, but so I'm waiting for our first review. So if you like this, it's I know I'm biased, but it's a great book.
I have the Kindle too.
Yay.
Yes, I'll do the review.
Yes, we've even sold a few in Germany and Italy.
Mm.
Nice.
But most of the sales right now are from the US. Thank you to each and every one of you. We so love and appreciate all of you. Nkosi, no words. Good night, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.